Most aspiring freelance data analysts think the path to $10,000 a month is simple. Learn more tools, build a portfolio, and join Upwork, and then find as many clients as possible. But that usually leads to low paying projects, constant custom work, and a business that becomes harder to manage every time it grows. Because $10,000 a month can come from 10 $1,000 clients, 5 $2,000 clients, or 4 $2,500 clients. The income target is the same, but the business workload and the value behind each model is completely different. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I would build a freelance data analyst business from zero, how to create an offer clients would understand and pay for, and how to turn one-off projects into a more sustainable freelance business. Now, if this is your first time here, I'm Kedeisha, and over 6 years ago, I was delivering pizzas and Amazon packages for $8 an hour. And today, I am running a community of over 80,000 current and aspiring data professionals, and I've helped thousands of other career changers break into data analytics without going back to school and wasting more money on courses that just don't work. If you ever want to work with me to land your first role in data analytics, click the link in the description. Now, let me show you why getting more clients is often the wrong starting goal. Put yourself in the client's chair. They open a freelance profile and see dashboard creation, data cleaning, reporting. That's just a list of tasks, and it hands them all the heavy lifting. They have to figure out which service that they actually need. What result do they actually expect? Why this analyst is different from the 200 other profiles saying the exact same thing. Most of them don't do that work. They'll just keep scrolling. And that's the trap. Chasing more clients with a generic profile means asking strangers to translate your skills into their problem, losing on price to whoever translates the cheapest. So flip it. A dashboard their team opens every Monday, a report that tells them which campaign to cut, and a clean database their whole company can finally trust. Those are things a business owner can point to and pay for. Clients don't buy skills, they buy outcomes. And the moment your offer describes their problem instead of your toolbox, you stop competing with every other analyst on the internet. So before we touch on pricing or outreach, we need to decide on which kind of business you're actually building. Run the 10 client model in your head. 10 kickoff calls, 10 inboxes, 10 rounds of revisions, 10 invoices to chase. You're not running an analytics business at that point. You're just running a customer service department that occasionally touches data. And while you're servicing all 10, who's out finding client 11 when 2 of them churn? Now flip it. 4 clients at 2,500. 4 problems you understand deeply, time to actually think, which is the whole job. Room to actually build recurring systems instead of surviving week to week. But nobody pays $2,500 a month for a prettier version of the same dashboard. Higher value models require a more important problem, a clearer outcome, stronger proof, and more ownership of the result. So the question isn't just how many clients do you need, it's what each client would need to believe your work is worth. My honest take for beginners, you'll probably start closer to the $2,000 model, and that's fine. Your first projects are tuition. You build your offer, your proof, and your delivery like you're heading towards the 4 client model, because that is where the sustainable business lives. And that starts with picking who you serve. So most analysts start with the question, what data service should I offer? That's the wrong question. Start with which type of business has a recurring problem that data can help solve. Niche down early. Freelance data analyst is one of the most crowded labels on the internet. Freelance data analyst for e-commerce brands cuts your competition dramatically. Healthcare data analyst reporting specialist cuts it even further and commands higher rates because specificity reads as expertise. So which market? Look at problems with enough data to analyze, decisions that repeat, measurable outcomes, and problems tied to revenue, cost, or risk, and the ability to pay. E-commerce brands, subscription companies, marketing agencies, nonprofits, multi-location local businesses, SaaS companies, for example. Then do your homework on which one you would pick. How does a business make money? Which metrics matter? And what decisions repeat every month or every week? Where does their data quality break down? And what does a bad decision cost them? If you have industry experience, use it. A former nurse choosing healthcare analytics isn't starting over. She is arriving with 10 years of domain knowledge most analysts would kill for. And relax, this is not a tattoo. You're just choosing a niche so your first offer is clear enough to sell, and you can expand once you have more momentum. Now, once the market is clear, you need the problem worth paying to solve. The strongest freelance offer sits on problems that are expensive, urgent, recurring, measurable, and connected to a decision someone actually has to make. Let's compare 2 pitches. I create Power BI dashboards. That explains the deliverable and nothing else. Versus I identify which marketing campaigns are wasting your budget and which ones to double down on. Same tools underneath, completely different conversation. One is a line item to negotiate. The other is money leaking out of their bonuses every month. The outcome framing works everywhere. Explain why customers are canceling, reveal which customer segment is actually profitable, automate the reporting that eats your ops manager's Friday, help a nonprofit understand donor behavior before the next campaign. Every one of those is a dashboard or a report under the hood. Now, before you commit to a problem, test it. Does it happen repeatedly? Does solving it affect revenue, cost, time, or risk? Does a client already care about it? Or would you have to convince them that it even matters in the first place? If you have to educate a client into caring, you picked a project, not a real problem. A business will negotiate the price of a dashboard all day, but it's much harder to ignore a problem that's costing money every single day or month. All right, so now at this point, you've got a market, you've got a problem. Now let's package it. Here is the formula to build your offer. I help a specific type of client improve valuable outcome by analyzing relevant data and delivering a specific decision, system, or result. Watch it in action. I help e-commerce brands identify which products and customer segment drive profitable growth and then turn the findings into a monthly decision report. Or I help SaaS companies understand why customers leave and identify the retention actions worth testing first. Or I help nonprofits combine attendance, donor, and campaign data into a recurring report that shows where to focus outreach. Each one names a client, the problem, the outcome, and the deliverable. A business owner reads it in 5 seconds and knows whether it's for them or not. That is the entire job of an offer. Beyond the one-liner, define the scope. Acquire data, deliverables, timeline, price, what the client is responsible for providing, and what happens after delivery. Every item you define upfront is a scope creep conversation you never have to have. And resist the urge to stuff your offer with too many extras. I know listing every service you could possibly provide feels safer, but it isn't. A focused offer is easy to explain, sell, deliver, and repeat, and lets the client immediately recognize their own problem inside of it. You can guarantee a clear answer to which campaigns are underperforming, but you cannot guarantee their revenues automatically just go up. Too much of that sits outside of your control. So sell the decision, not the miracle. Now, why would anyone believe you can deliver this? You don't have any clients yet, which means you don't have any testimonials. What you can have is proof, and proof is a product, but not the generic kind. A portfolio full of unrelated dashboards full of practice projects just forces the client to imagine whether you can solve their specific problem. A focused case study removes that guesswork. So build one proof project that mirrors your offer exactly and structure it like a consultant, not a student. The business problem, the available data, your approach, and the most important finding, the recommendation. The next step. Those last two are what separate business work from a class assignment. Real analysts know what their analysis can't tell you. So say your offer targets e-commerce, analyzing product, customer, and campaign data. Find the underperforming campaign. Reveal the profitable segment hiding underneath it, and recommend a budget reallocation test and spell out exactly what to monitor. Package it however plays to your strengths. A one-page case study, a short deck, a recorded walkthrough on Loom. Personally, my favorite for freelancers is a public teardown. Take publicly available data in your niche and analyze it like a client hired you. One rule you never break, though: don't pretend simulated work was a real client engagement. Label it clearly as a sample or independent analysis. The thinking is real either way. The client doesn't need proof you can make a dashboard. They just need proof that you can use data to think through a problem that looks like theirs. Now, with proof in hand, finding clients gets a whole lot easier. Client acquisition is easier when you know who you help, what problem you solve, what proof you can show, and what outcome you deliver. Start with your existing network, though. Former colleagues, previous employers, local businesses, nonprofit contracts, professional communities. Your first client almost always comes through trust, not marketing. Your first move, though, solve a problem for free. Once. Find a small business in your niche with a visible data problem, solve one piece of it, and show them the result. I'm not telling you to work free forever. I'm telling you to make one strategic demonstration that earns a paying engagement. Walking in with a finished insight about their business beats walking in with a pitch about yourself. Saying, I pulled your public reviews and found the 3 complaints driving the most 1-star ratings. Want the full breakdown? That gets a meeting a resume never will. Second channel, targeted outreach. Look for signals a business has your problem. Disconnected report, rapid growth, unclear performance, manual reporting, eating someone's week. Then keep the message tight. Share one relevant observation, connect it to a problem, and offer a simple next step. Outreach is hard when your message is just, I'm a data analyst. It's strong when the message is, I notice a problem, I specifically help businesses like yours solve. Now, platforms like Upwork, it is fine as a training ground. Early rep, client communication, testimonials, just don't camp there competing for generic gigs against 5,000 people. Search only for projects that match your offer and create content around the problem that you solve. Tear down, sample reports, common decision mistakes in your niche. Every piece is public proof working for you while you sleep. Which brings us to the question everyone asks first and should ask last. What do you charge? The first price is always going to be lower than your target, and that's by design, not weakness. Stage one is about proof. Complete real work, develop your process, and get feedback, and walk away with a case study and testimonial. Charge something. Unpaid work with no defined scope trains clients to devalue you, but price it to remove risk from their side. Stage two, you have the workflow down and the price rises because clients' risk drops. Clearer deliverables, faster delivery, stronger proof, same work, less uncertainty, higher price. That's fair on both sides. Stage three, higher pricing comes from attacking a more valuable problem, offering ongoing support, owning more of the result, not adding hours, and charge by the project, not the hour, as soon as you can. Hourly pricing punishes you for getting faster. Project pricing rewards the systems you're about to build. What you avoid at every stage, though, unlimited revisions, undefined deliverables, lowering the price without reducing scope. If they can't afford the full engagement, sell a smaller one. Never guarantee financial results. And don't raise your price just because you want to earn more. You raise the value, clarity, and reliability of what the client receives, and then the price follows. One-time project solves a defined problem. A retainer supports a decision that keeps changing. And retainers are how $10,000 months becomes a business instead of a treadmill you sprint over and over forever. The transition is natural if you set it up right. At the end of the initial project, walk the client through which metrics deserve monitoring, which decisions will repeat next month, and what new questions your analysis surface. You're not pitching, you're just finishing the project properly, and the retainer falls out of that conversation. Concrete example, your initial project is to identify the strongest customer segment. For a retainer, monitor how that segment performs, analyze each campaign results against it, and recommend the next action. Plenty of analytics work occurs naturally. Monthly decision reports, performance monitoring, data quality checks, campaign analysis, forecasting, dashboard maintenance, experiment measurement. But one boundary matters. A retainer tied to recurring value is a partnership. A retainer that exists because you want predictable revenue turns you into an on-demand employee without the benefits. So the test isn't how can I keep building the client? It's which decision is this client going to need help making again next month or next week? If you can't answer that, finish strong and ask for a referral instead. All right, now let's put this whole path together. Stage one, build one focused offer. One market, one recurring problem, one clear outcome, one sample case study. Stage two, get the first client, the relationships, targeted outreach, or one strategic free demonstration. The goal isn't the money, it's validating the problem is real and your delivery works. Stage three, refine. Tighten the scope, the timeline, the onboarding, and the pricing. Stage four is where the business actually changes. Building templates, reusable dashboard frameworks, a standard data cleaning process you run on every engagement, pre-written kickoff questions, and onboarding docs. Your first project in a niche might take 40 hours. Your fifth should take maybe 15. Same quality, same price, a third of the time. The faster you deliver, the more clients you can serve, and the more every hour your time is worth. This is a step almost every freelancer skips, and it's exactly why they stay stuck, trading hours for dollars. Stage five, add recurring value. Turn the parts of your work that repeat every month into retainers. Stage six, settle into your target model. 10 at 1,000, 5 at 2,000, 4 at 2,500, or a mix of retainers and projects. The right answer depends on your capacity, your service, and the life you actually want to live. $10,000 a month is not guaranteed, and it can take real time. But remember, revenue is not profit. You're covering taxes, software, unpaid acquisition time, client churn, revisions, and dry spells between projects. If you're employed, keep the job while you build. Your first milestone isn't $10,000. It's one paying client and one repeatable process. Everything else compounds from there. All right, so now it's your turn. Your challenge this week is to build one version of your freelance offer. Choose one type of client, identify one recurring and measurable problem that they have, and write an offer using the formula. I help this client improve this outcome by analyzing this data and delivering this result. Define the deliverables, what they receive, the timeline, and the revisions. And then create one relevant proof project. And then pick your starting price. List 20 businesses that appear to have that problem, and then write one personalized outreach message and define the recurring version of your service. And then you can calculate a model for your own income target, because maybe your number isn't $10,000. Maybe it's just $3,000 on the side while you work your 9 to 5. The math works exactly the same though. And don't disappear into research mode for a month. This is a weekend of focused work. Version 1 doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to exist, because you can only improve an offer that's actually in front of clients. All right, so let's bring it home. The path to $10,000 a month as a freelance data analyst isn't about learning more tools or chasing more clients. It starts with choosing a starving market, identifying a problem worth solving, and building an offer that client immediately understands. Then you create the proof, land the first clients, systemize your delivery, and then turn recurring problems into recurring revenue. Your technical skills still matter. They're what make your analysis reliable. But the business is built on how clearly those skills connect to the outcomes someone will pay for. Because you don't get paid for what you know, you get paid for what you can prove. So instead of asking, where can I find freelance data analyst projects, ask, what problem can I become known for solving? And tell me in the comments, what business problem would you build your first offer around? I read every single one and I'll give some feedback. Now, once you know how to turn your data skills into a clear freelance offer, the next step is closing any gaps that could stop you from delivering it confidently. Because the business model is only half the equation. You need a full combination of technical, analytical, and business skills to solve that client's problems from start to finish. So watch this next video where I break down the complete data analyst skill set and show you how each piece fits together and help you identify exactly what you still need to learn. See you in the next one.